Everyone has a story, but not everyone gets to tell it. Life gets busy. We talk, we text, but do we listen? Are you looking for real stories, raw and unchanged? Want to experience life through another's eyes, one story at a time? Daniel and Jenny have you covered. It's time to start the conversations, and that's the #truth.
Today's guest is Lisa Colvil. Lisa was born to a Vietnamese refugee who came to America after the fall of Saigon. She grew up as an only child born with 3 types of CHD. She had her first surgery at the age of 3 months in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In hopes of warmer weather and better health, she and her mother moved to California, where she had her second surgery at age 6 at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, California. Lisa knows the ache of living with CHD within the Vietnamese culture. She understands the challenges involved in trying to face a major illness with the added complications of language and other barriers. But she also knows the power of love and the hope of God. As a result, it is her passion and desire to help others who have experienced similar hardships. She is a fierce advocate in the CHD community and has made it her mission to break down stigmas associated with this invisible illness and provide support to those who live with CHD. Lisa wrote, "Through the beauty of grace, I will," to bring hope to those living with CHD. Lisa resides in California with her husband and 2 beautiful children and remains a strong ally to the CHD community.
Well, thank you, Lisa, so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on your show.
We have been really looking forward to it. Do you have it over there?
I had it right here.
We have your beautiful book, your devotional, that we have been reading and devouring and have loved every page of it. It is so pure and sweet, and you just have such a beautiful heart.
Oh, thank you, Jenny.
And
I appreciate it.
I have to ask, what was the inspiration? What made you say, I got to write a devotional and put this out there for people?
First, it just came to me. I was doing quotes, like my morning quotes I do now. I was just doing them, and then all of a sudden it came to me, this is it. This is going to be the book that I've been trying to write since I was in high school, a book.
Wow.
Really?
I don't know. It just came to me like, I don't know, I'm just writing these quotes, and then all of a sudden it just hit me that this is it. This will be the one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I just rolled with it.
Well, I didn't know that you had a desire or a call in your heart to write since high school.
I wrote since middle school. I wrote short poetry, short stories for fun. Like I write at home. I read them to my parents, my friends. I hand them out like on people's birthdays, stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I got to high school, I took a creative writing course and it was my elective and I liked it. And I don't know, I wanted to do this, but then my parents had other things in mind for me to do. So I didn't really pursue a writing career after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's pretty common, isn't it? That our parents want us to do one thing and sometimes we want to do another, and sometimes it all meets in the middle. So the title of this book is "Through the Beauty of Grace, I Will." That title in and of itself is awe-inspiring. What inspired that title?
My quote started out as today you will be doing something nice and stuff. And I thought of God's grace for us and how we can live with what He gave us, with His grace was how do we return that onto others. So that's what came to be the title, the beauty of His grace, and then what do we do in return for it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
And
that's how I got the title.
His grace is everything, right?
Yes, yes, of course. If it wasn't for His grace, we wouldn't be here right now.
Exactly.
We wouldn't. You're right.
So, for people who maybe aren't familiar with God or having a relationship with God, would you mind sharing what led to you getting to know God and how you got introduced to Him?
As I said in my book, in the beginning of the introduction, I had been separated from my husband for almost 6 months. We were having problems, marital problems with children coming on and just things. We were just having, regular problems. And then we were separated. So I moved in with my mom
Mhm.
and we met. I met a friend that came to the temple. Her mom was Buddhist, but she was a Christian. So she takes her mom, but then her faith is Christianity.
Mhm.
And she talked to me, and it just, I don't know, she got me curious. And then I started Googling, and then I went and bought my first Bible. And then I started reading it. And then after I bought my first Bible, I started doing more like God-like quotes, I guess, to post on, social media. And
Mhm.
that's how I started. Oh, and then I also started by writing the quotes and then I started mailing them out. I would Google churches, hospitals, things like that. And then I would just mail them out for people anonymously.
Oh,
Oh, well, that is so awesome.
I
And
didn't
then that's
know
how I
that.
got
Yeah.
started.
And
And God brought my family back. So after I found God, things kind of changed. I kind of changed as a person. And then also I started talking to my husband more differently. And I don't know, it just brought us back. So then we ended up not getting the divorce and we stayed together. And then now we finally bought a house.
congratulations.
You know, and yeah, so basically God in turn worked in my life personally.
Hmm.
And that's also what got me to write the book too. I
Hmm.
want to show people that God's real, that his grace is real, our faith in him is real, and that he can change lives.
Hmm.
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
and he has such a unique way of doing that, does he not? He knows each one of us individually.
He
And
weaves them together.
yes, and he weaves us together. And it's incredible what he does. It always seems like he's opening a door somewhere, 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 and we don't always see what's ahead, but he sees what's ahead and kind of paves the way. Um, Now, I know every day since I've met you, you inspire us. You're part of the Heart Community Collection group, which we have, and your book can be found there, as well as Amazon and a number of other places. But since I've met you, I think, and I tell Dan about you often, is that you're just so inspiring because you always have a word for someone. You always have something kind to share and to bring to the table. And there's there's something special about it because you have this pure heart that just wants to help. And in the Bible it says that we are to be like Christ. And I see that in the work that you do, in the servant's heart that you have.
Oh, thank you, Jenny. It means so much to me. I really appreciate it. And I do it because I feel it's God's calling. I feel it's my purpose. There
Mhm.
are days, and I'll tell you straight out, I want to give up. I want to figure, why am I doing all this every day? Why do I post these things? What's it going to do? It's just wasting my time. Well, there's times I feel that way. But then I've wanted to stop. I've wanted to quit all this. But then the back of my mind somewhere is telling me someone out there needs this. If it's not someone that's read it before, maybe it's someone else. Who knows what? Who knows who I'm, only God knows. So I feel like he will know when I should stop or when, to keep going. But
Mhm.
every time I want to stop myself, there's something that tells me not to stop, like to keep going. There are days I just want to not do this today. I don't want to post today. And then I wake up and then I post.
And I think that's common, don't you? I
Oh,
mean,
it's extremely
yeah.
common. We all have experiences and times when we do ask, why am I doing this? And it's too hard, or I'm we feel like we want to give up, but then we keep going on because God wants us to. And because of his grace, we don't even sometimes know his grace is working to keep us moving forward.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because if it wasn't for the purpose I do for motherhood, probably I would have just already given up. But then since I met the heart community, since I met Anna, I feel all this is worthwhile because she works so hard and you work so hard, Jenny, to do all this. And here I am. I'm not working as hard as you two. So why am I giving up? I could just still do what I do, you know?
You work very, very hard.
Yes, yes.
We honestly often say, gosh, I wish that we could reciprocate as much as Lisa does because we feel like we don't do enough. But so you said you started to work with the heart community. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about your connection to the heart community and what your story is?
Wow, it's gonna be like 3 hours long. No, I'll make it quick. I grew up in a Vietnamese household.
Mhm.
Honestly, my mom, she came to America, of course, during the war, the Vietnam War, as a refuge. She didn't understand that much English. So honestly, myself growing up, I didn't know about my CHD. I mean, okay, so I know I had a heart issue. That's all I grew up knowing. I have a heart issue. I can't show my scars and the things, in that sense. But I didn't know the impact and the danger and so when I was little, I would do stuff not knowing that, oh, this could complicate my heart, right? So I do them. But now that I got involved, now I know. And how I got involved was I myself wanted to learn more about CHD for the Vietnamese community. I want to help them how I wasn't helped, how my mom and we weren't helped. We didn't have the resources. We didn't have people to talk to. I never knew a Vietnamese person that had this. Then I realized if they did, they wouldn't talk about it because it's a stigma in the community. So I went on my own research. I took out all my doctor's old papers. I Googled stuff first. I started Googling VSD. I started Googling this and that. Then I realized how severe my condition was. Then I started reaching out to heart groups on Facebook. And my first group was the Conquering CHD Adult and Teens. I met a friend. Her name is Kathy Weir. And when I met her, I realized I had met her in a Christian website that we were both on, like Facebook page site. And she goes, I've seen this name before and I know you sound familiar. So she instantly messaged me, like private message. And she goes, have we met before? And then we started talking. We found out we met through a Love and Blessed Facebook page, a Christian page. So we became friends. And then she introduced me to Anna.
Mhm.
And that's how I got started into this whole journey. I started my journey as myself for the Vietnamese community when I found out how dangerous this really is and how alone we were. But then when I had met Anna, it just opened doors. And then I met people on the Conquering CHD, and that opened a whole new door. And so from then, I realized that this is my purpose. I should be an advocate because I got to live when some babies died, some even up to like teens, they died or they had more complications than I did. So my thing is, I lived, I was blessed, I should give back.
Oh,
Wow, that's
that's
awesome.
powerful.
Yes, it is.
And then that's it. I mean, that's how I got started. And mainly, I'm still striving really hard to reach the Vietnamese community. Me and Anna, we've been doing a lot of work. Now I've got a friend. She translates for me. So she will be translating some of my posts, some of Anna's stuff. I asked Anna for permission. She says, oh, yes, anything she posts, if we can get translated, that would be perfect. So we're starting to translate it into Vietnamese now.
So Anna, just so that our viewers know, Anna Jarowski, she's the podcast host for Heart to Heart with Anna, and then also has a bereavement podcast show called Bereaved But Still Me with Michael Liben. And so that's who you are now working with and an assistant for. And what sort of things do you do with the organization?
I help post such things on her webpage to help engage with viewers and listeners. Okay, we need them to understand that we thank them for being on the guest show. We thank the listeners, and as people tell their story, they are bringing hope to the table. And so I thank them for that. And then I also encourage them to find others, or to reach out to mothers, young mothers, mothers that don't speak English, or mothers that if they're from a different country and they know of these situations and they know of the mothers, to reach out to them.
Well, I mean, you guys are doing an amazing job. I know that the show is the longest running podcast for CHD
Yes,
podcasts, and there is
that's
really
actually the
an
only
episode for
PhD I've seen.
everyone. Oh, I'm sorry.
Like
Go ahead.
when you Google CHD podcast, she's the only one that shows up until you scroll down and you hit more. Then
Mhm.
there's other ones, but she's like the top, the whole page down.
Been doing it a really long time. Yeah. And I've scrolled before. I actually did a video once of how many topics there are. There's really a topic for everybody. So that's really awesome that you're able to help coordinate all of that. Now, you said that you have a translator that helps you reach the Vietnamese community. Do you speak any Vietnamese still, or?
I speak Vietnamese. I just can't write, and I can read a little bit now, but I can't really write much. So, but then when I work with her now because she's from Vietnam. I met her through another like fan page, and I met her. We started talking, and then she started doing other stuff for me. And then when I got into this, she asked if she can help. And so what we do now is we actually call on Messenger and we talk. So some of the stuff, if she doesn't understand what I want to say, she'll ask me, and then I kind of tell her in Vietnamese. Um, so yeah, I can speak it. I just can't write it very well.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So you said there's still a lot of work to do, and your heart definitely calls you to help. I mean, you help in so many ways. You help people with their faith, and you help people and just in general get the word out there about CHD and support and advocate. But also, there's this big call on your heart to reach the Vietnamese community, because you said there's still a lot that needs to be done. What areas? What stands out to you? Like, what's the biggest area of help that is needed?
To take away the stigma, to take away the mindset that if you have illnesses, to not to be ashamed of. That illnesses is okay. It happens. And if you have it, speak up. Or at least if you have it, help others. I mean, sometimes people hide from it. So of course, if they find another person that has it, they won't admit that they have it. So they can't help someone if they don't admit it. How will you help someone if you don't admit it yourself? So I'm trying to open that door for them to let them understand and know that first of all, if you have it, first, you're not alone. Second, if you know you're not alone, you need to help someone else so they know that they're not alone. Don't hide from it, you
Mm.
know, and to take away the stigma, take away that ashamedness mindset. Because when I grew up, my mom, I think part of it, she was ashamed. So she would tell me, hide your scar, wear turtlenecks, don't tell them about it. If someone asked, just say, oh, you had a slight heart problem, but you're better now, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes she lied to her friends about me. And see, but then I didn't understand until as I grew up, I understood, oh, that's wrong. So like I was in special ed classes. My mom's friends' kids weren't, like, oh, so we're the same age. My mom would tell them I was in honor classes because their kids were in honor classes. Like instead of saying I was in special ed, so she kind of did a white lie. And that's also another thing about the Vietnamese culture is that the older generation, they tend to lie like that about their children so
Mhm.
that they would show face. They wouldn't feel ashamed. They wouldn't feel, I thinking that word. You know how like when people say that their kids are doctors and then if your kid isn't, you feel kind of like, bad.
Mhm.
Most of Vietnamese elder generations, they don't like to feel that way. They like to feel this like I am on top or I'm just like you kind of feeling.
Yeah.
But then when the sickness comes around, they won't admit it, even though, oh, that I am like you because I have it too. But they won't say that. But they'll say the other stuff. They'll bring out the good stuff, but they won't bring out the bad stuff.
Mhm.
And that stuff needs to be talked about because not everything's all sunshine and roses. We have thorns too. Deal with it. I do. Wow, that's what I want to bring to the community. I want to bring that to the table where you you look at your life and they'll show, oh, I'm perfect. I drive a BMW, I drive an Audi, right? But
Mhm.
then inside their life, who knows? They probably have all these thorns and they shut down. So
Mhm.
I want to bring that out that being on the outside, showing all that glamorous, all the material things don't matter. What matters is you need to show them who you really are so you can help others.
Mhm. And it's like having growing up with any kind of health condition. can be isolating in and of itself. And if you're not able to talk about it or be around other people who have maybe shared the same experience, that's even more isolating. And it's hard, especially if a culture, or be it culture, or just be it the way that somebody's raised within their own family culture.
Yes.
But if you're told not to talk about things or to sweep things under the carpet, it's hard sometimes coming forward and making the decision to be vulnerable and be open about what's going on. But it's also freeing and empowering to be able to finally say, you know what, here's my thorn, here's the struggle I live with. Did you find that at all for yourself? Like once you were like, hey, I want to talk about this and I want other people to know, did it make you feel free or empowered? Maybe that's not the word, but
It makes me feel blessed, I
Mhm.
want to say, because I don't want to say empower, because you can be empowered by doing other things. And I don't want to put an illness as, oh, yeah, you're empowered because you have it and you talk about it. My thing is, I'm blessed that I have the opportunity to be able to do this for other people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to be talk about and help, because I didn't get that help. So I just want to help other people to realize that they're not alone and it's, hey,
Mhm.
talk about it. And it's helped me because now that since I've opened up, me and my mom's relationship has gotten closer.
Yeah. Have
That's
you guys
awesome.
been able to talk about this with each other about how it was kind of quiet before, but now it's out in the open?
Yeah, because now she's on Anna's show, so of course it's on. And then now when people meet her,
Oh,
if they know about the show, they ask her, they go, "Why didn't you ever told me? I didn't know she had that." Da, 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 right? And mom goes, "Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Well, now you know." And then she talks about it more to other people. See, before if mom meets someone, she wouldn't talk to people. Now she has. And then me and her, we really don't talk about it now. Now it's just an understanding. Like then the other day, my mom kind of said something she's never told me before. She said she was proud of me. And I go, "Oh, thank you."
oh,
Oh,
that's awesome.
that's
I
so
think because she
awesome.
sees what I'm doing now in this meaningful, that before she kind of was worried, afraid, but now she's like, wow, people know and it's okay, you know?
Mhm.
That's
Aw.
awesome. Really awesome.
Yeah.
So we just have this understanding now that it's okay to talk about it, but we won't talk to each other. We'll talk to others to help them.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It must have been, I mean, it must have been hard for her too as a mom to have, her little girl going through these scary things and, English not being her first language and having to communicate with doctors about.
And then not having the community people, the Vietnamese community, I mean, because back then, and we were in Pennsylvania, mind you, okay? So Pennsylvania, we lived in a small town, 2 hours away from Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Okay, there's not many Vietnamese people out there either. So obviously, when she ran into doctors, we didn't have Vietnamese doctors or Vietnamese nurses. So whatever the doctor would say to her in English, she would just have to accept whether she thinks it's bad or good. But then she tells me she always thought it was the worst. Like every time the doctor says something, even though it's not bad, in her mind it was bad.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
but she never told me what got her through. Oh, she did. She said she prayed a lot to Buddha back then. And so she said that helped her. Like when I was in the hospital and there were days she couldn't be there, she would go home, she would sit and just pray to Buddha, or she'll go to a nearby like Buddhist temple and stay there. And she
Mhm.
said that helped her.
So her faith helped her and your faith is helping you. So what's next for you? Do you have, in your, I mean, you have a book, you're working with the community, you're pretty busy all the time, your mom.
Um,
Do you have like something over here going, okay, this is where I'm going next?
I want to write a poetry book next.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow, that's awesome.
And I want to do two types. I want to do one is a like an inspirational, and
Mhm.
then I kind of want to change genres and do like fantasy
Mhm.
stuff, you know. And then also my big step, and this is like the biggest thing that if it could happen to me, or for us, for the community of the heart community, it would be wonderful, is to really spread CHD into the Vietnamese community, where the day of our congenital heart defect, how the February 14th, what we do sometimes, wear our colors, we post things, we do fundraisers.
Mhm.
I want the Vietnamese community community to get there, to one day get there. Because in my hometown, not my hometown, but my California, I know you've heard of like Orange County City. They have like little Saigon.
Mhm.
If that can get reached, when we have our Chinese New Year, which is also in February, we can also use that day to spread congenital heart defects. So I'm hoping one day they will get on board and do that. So like they will do a lot of Chinese New Year festival stuff. Then we can have like maybe a table for CHD.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yes, it would.
In that, in that place. Like, where Amy went to do her books stuff that one time? She went to that Vietnamese Asian night thing.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
one day we have that here too in Football Talk. Okay, it's a Vietnamese area down there. One day, if they were to do that here, I would like to see a CHD table there.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
so that's my big next project, my dream project. And then to further that, I'm hoping, because one of my cousins in Vietnam is a doctor. So he owns a hospital. So I'm hoping that maybe we can get a research center around that area in the future for CHD.
oh, that's incredible.
Those are amazing goals and vision.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get there, but it's a dream.
Well, I would go back to the title of your book, Through the Beauty of Grace,
Yes.
I Will.
One day I will.
Right?
With God's grace, we can go anywhere.
And anything's possible.
And he puts those, you have big dreams and vision, but God's put those there and you're acting on them. So he's working with you to get you toward those big dreams and visions.
I will be very blessed and happy and thankful. I'm thankful now, of course, for everything God's given me, especially the gift to be able to do what I do, the writing where I can write to help people, the things how he got me together with Anna, with you, Jenny. It's like he put us all together. And the big pictures, I think we're supposed to work together to do this big project of my dream here.
You mentioned Amy as well. And, again, she's been on the show. She's the author of Snow in Vietnam and the Snow Trilogy. And she herself is also a heart warrior. And
she's the first person I met that's Vietnamese.
Yes. And she's very open about everything as well, just like you. So between the two of you, the voice gets stronger and it does bring people hope.
And now, I have a new motto. My motto is your voice matters and your voice inspires.
Oh,
yes.
That's really good.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Dan. And Dan, I know we haven't talked much and you haven't asked me anything. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really glad to be talking to you. It's great to meet people like this and learn more about what you're doing. I think it's great. One of the things that comes out in your personality and your vision and also in your book is because of your faith in God, which comes from God, your faith and the grace that comes from God, you want to go out and forward, giving back and acting like with his hand to touch people. And that's really awesome that your faith has forward momentum and you have a vision and you're moving forward. How do you want to talk about that? Like how did God speaking to you make you go, I'm going to do this?
I don't know. I just know he does. Like I said, one of the days I don't want to do this, if I feel God is talking to me, like he would tell me, you need to do, there's someone out there that needs this. You need to keep doing this. And when I wrote the book, I already knew God was talking to me, especially my first introduction. And when I went into my first day one, where you have to have a relationship with God. I think once you have a relationship with God, you'll know when he's speaking to you anytime, anywhere. Especially the moments where you want to give up, that's when you know God was speaking. And then sometimes when he doesn't speak and he leaves it up to you, you'll know what to do. Because I noticed that there are days when I don't post, certain friends will ask me, oh, I missed your daily quotes today. They'll give me
no pressure.
Like, oh, okay.
Because they're looking forward to it. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that's really what it is, how I can just feel him. I don't know. When I sit and write things, sometimes things just come to my mind. Like if I write poetry and stuff, when the words come, I know it's from God.
Yes, I know what you mean. That
Yeah,
there's
I don't understand if I'm saying it right, but it's like when I write things, I know it's from God.
I know exactly what you mean. I have had times that, I can write, I can put words out, and I can say what needs to be said effectively. And then there's other times when I know those words are inspired and they came from God. So I hear you.
And then sometimes if I don't hear anything, then I sit for a while. And I think that's when the meditation does kick in for me.
Mhm.
Jenny, I want to say two things, or maybe three things for you. I know I have thanked Anna a lot, and I know I haven't thanked you. So, personally, here, face to face with you, I want to say, Jenny, I thank you.
Aw, you're very
Um,
welcome. I don't know what I thank you every day. I think you're, just wonderful.
I thank you for your book because I really love your story about faith. And I don't know, I need another one. I would like another book from you, like another maybe about you now. Like, so one day maybe you could tell your story, how you came from what happened to Faith. I understood that before. And now that you have your own podcast, what is it like? Stuff like that about you.
Mhm. Well, I'll have to keep that in mind. I do have another one brewing, but I have not been able to work on it for quite a while, and it's kind of the prequel, actually.
Oh,
Um,
yay.
so, what was all before and where I came from and all of that. But yeah.
Oh,
So, if you could leave, if you could give, I'm going to ask you a couple questions about advice because I think you have a lot of wisdom.
You do.
So just for our viewers in general, anybody, on their faith journey or, anywhere in their life, maybe they're having a hard time or, different things are going on. What would your advice be to them?
wow. A lot, but okay. I want to say first and foremost, to have a relationship either with God or with a higher power, depending on, of course, what you believe. If neither, so say someone doesn't have neither, my
Mhm.
biggest one is have faith with yourself.
Mhm.
Believe that you are here for a reason, a purpose. No matter how hard the journey is, no matter if you're behind your friends and your fellow peers, you do what you do because one day you will get there because everyone's here for something, whether they don't know it yet, whether they believe in God, they believe in Buddha, they're Muslim, whatever they are here for a purpose.
Mhm.
And that purpose can be to help others. That purpose can be to help not themselves in a way, but maybe for them to grow so that maybe in the next lifetime they can help someone. I'm just saying that they have something here and they will get there. It's just believe in their journey.
Mhm. And then on that same note, if you, had a group of kids who have CHDs and they're facing surgery, or maybe they've already been through surgery and they maybe can't keep up with other kids at school because of their heart condition, what would you tell them?
You don't need to keep up with anyone, sweetie. You stay where you are, do what you do because you're already an inspiration enough.
That's awesome.
Amen.
That's awesome.
I love that.
I'll second that.
Okay, so then if I go deeper with them, I would actually tell them whatever happens with them, they are here already for a reason. And even though they're living with CHD, it's not a one day thing. And that's also what I want to tell the new generation that are living with it. Sometimes they don't know. They think, oh, I had it, I have surgery, I'm done. We need to explain to them they're not done. It's a long life process. So they don't need to, it's not a race. Once we live with CHD, we're not living in a race. We're living each day, each moment. So each day, each moment, what they do now matters. They don't need to look at, oh, my friend's over there doing this. Why am I still stuck here? You're not stuck here. Today matters. Today is your day. You
Mhm.
know, you're okay. And then tomorrow when it comes, it's still okay. Whether you're doing something like they are or not. Every day living with CHD, it's okay because we're still here.
Mhm. And you bring up a very good point that a lot of people don't understand in the community if they haven't really truly known someone who's lived with CHD, or they're not someone who lives with CHD, is there are things that you have to do differently every day. There's it's not always done. There's always something, there's always a checkup, or there's always a follow-up with a doctor, or there's always
Or for
something
her
to kind of
pills,
keep an
or
eye
for
on.
medication.
Mm,
I've met a girl on the website. She takes 6 different medication, right? And then every 6 months, the doctor has to check her to make sure that their meds are okay, or they have to up her dose, lower dose, change them. And so to me, it's like an everyday thing. It's like a lifelong thing. So why are we going to be in a hurry? Why are we going to rush to get somewhere where we don't know if we're really going to get there? What if one day we don't wake up, you know? I mean, to me, it's like, what the heck? We're not in a race. To me, I feel if my peers are there, they're there. I'm here for a reason. You
mm,
know, I'm here in this moment for a reason. And I don't need to be there, because if I'm there, then I can't do what I need to do for someone else. So that's what I would tell someone, that, you know, each day of your life, you are doing something. And if you're already up there, then you're missing something because you're rushing too fast.
mhm.
We do miss things when we rush too fast. You're right. That's
Yeah.
really great advice and inspiring.
Mhm. Now, last but not least, do you want to tell us a
Yay.
little bit about your beautiful kids?
Aww. Okay. Do you have questions, or do you want me to just say something about
I
this?
just, yeah, we'd love to hear a little bit about your kids. I mean, I
Okay.
know a little bit about them, and they're beautiful, but
Um, well, I'm gonna say this first and foremost. I never knew if I could have kids or not because of my CHD. Okay.
Mhm.
I went through this blindly. I got married and 2009. Then 2010, I found out I mean, 2010, I had her. So 2009, I got married March, found out I was pregnant in July. Now, let me tell you, for the first 6 months, I never went to a cardiologist.
mm,
Mhm.
I was scared. I was petrified
Mm.
that they said I couldn't have her or keep her, right? So, of course, I didn't want to go down that road. Then I never thought in my mind that she might have this. Like, so I was just scared for that, but I never thought of the other. So when I finally did go to the doctor, because my OBG wrote me a recommendation to see a heart doctor, and
mm,
he was mad at me because when he found out I was already 6 weeks, he told me I had to see a cardiologist within the next month before our next visit, right? And
Mhm.
then I didn't go. So he was mad, and I know I was bad. I lied to him. I told him, oh, I called, but the office was busy, so they postponed me, right?
Yeah.
So he got mad. So he wrote in a recommendation for me and he sent it out. And then I got a call like 3 weeks after my appointment with him that I had. No, the office called me and told me, oh, yeah, you have an appointment made for you by your OBG. So you need to come see us at this date, this date. So I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble now. So my visit to the cardiologist, he was surprised. You know, he said to me, Lisa, I'm so glad you're still sitting here without complications
Mm.
because I was 7 months.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they did test. They did test for her. They set me up for an in womb test to see if she had CHD. It came back she didn't. Then
Mhm,
they did a bunch of tests for me. They ran EKGs. They did, and then they said I'm okay. I can give normal birth, but just in case they'll set up a C-section on the side.
Mhm.
And I gave normal birth. And then when my son came along, I did the whole 9 yards from the beginning. I had tests, I had medication, I had him tested. And then I ended up with a C section with him because we had complications.
mhm,
But he was fine, I was fine. But then I was also bleeding inside due to the C section. So they had to drain it and I had to wait 24 hours. And then they said, oh, it's getting better. So then I was okay, or else I would have to go in for another surgery.
mhm.
Then at that time, when I went for my 6 week checkup with Sean, I went to a cardiologist for my 6 week checkup. You know, after having a baby, they say it changes your heart. And then knowing that we have CHD is like a whole different ball game, right? So they said I have a leaky valve and I still have a high murmur.
Mhm.
And I haven't been back since, so don't be mad at me, Jenny. Um, Sean's okay. He is in third grade now. The teachers say he's the sweetest little boy. He now since kinder first and second, he doesn't do it much. But I talked to the teacher the other day, and he actually raises his hand now, you know, to participate.
That's
And
Mhm.
he's
awesome.
never done this
Wow.
before, so I'm like proud of him. Yay!
Yay. Oh, that's so
That's
awesome.
great.
Now,
Now,
so
oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
So, but you're gonna go back for your follow-up, right?
I made an appointment already, Jenny. I go in on
Okay, good.
now. Serenity. She has grown since the interview with Anna. That was her first talk about me. She's never okay. So growing up, I've never really talked about my CHD to my kids because, for one, I don't think they understood, but they didn't really care. Not care in a sense that, okay, if mommy dies, I care, but they don't really thought of it. Like, they think, okay, mom has a heart disease. That's it. That's all they saw it. But since the show and since what I'm doing now, Serenity's really been on board. She's been pushing me to write more CHD poetry. She wants me to do CHD bracelets for, like, congenital heart day, like bead bracelets, because she can bead. So she's like, mommy, what if we bead together and we get the sayings, CHD colors, and then we hand them out?
Aw, that's
Oh,
awesome.
that is awesome.
You're creating a little
And
advocate.
yeah, she's been really on board with me. And she's been a writer herself. She
Ooh,
has a web page on Wattpad and she writes fan fiction.
Oh, wow, good
that's
for
so
her.
cool.
Aw.
And she's got number one on 3 different books
Mhm.
that she wrote, on Wattpad. So she's excited. She says she hopes Wattpad, um, like contacts her. And because if you get so many number ones or so many reads, they contact you and they let your read be like read of the week or something or top picks.
Mhm.
So she's hoping hers will go there. But yeah, she's a little writer and she wants to actually co-write one with me
Oh,
as a day in the life of a CHD daughter.
Oh,
So we'll
that's
see how that goes.
awesome.
that's so
Yes.
cool that you want. That's so cool that she wants to do one with you.
Yep, that
Yeah.
would be great.
But we'll see. Sometimes they change their mind. They'll say it now, but then when the time, I don't want to do this no more.
The bottom line is she's inspired and
Mhm.
Yeah.
wants to do good. And, I
Yes.
think she's going to do a lot of great and wonderful things in her future and now and this day, like you said, today's the day, right?
Yes.
Well, you are definitely touching lives, touching hearts, inspiring people everywhere you go. And, I'm going to put up a link for where people can purchase your book so that they can enjoy what we've been enjoying. And I do love one of the things I really love about it is it's just so simple and so easy to follow. Sometimes when you're reading a devotional, you only have a few minutes, you know what I mean, to start your day. And these are just short, applicable ways that you can kind of take the advice that's in each devotion and apply it. And it reminds you of like the first and foremost commandment, which is to love. And, you know, let's see if I read really quick.
Yay. And then when we're done with this, can I just ask each of you your best days? Like out of the book, which day not apply to resonates to you? And then you guys can give an answer because that would help me. Yay.
Yay. Well, I actually I could tell you right off the bat the ones that stood out to me. But day 2 actually was one of my favorites, and it's today I will be a helper to those in need. Being a helper for any situation in the work of God's grace. There are people around you that are in unfavorable conditions or under the stress of everyday life. Let your spirit be present to seek them out and reach your hand to them and offer care. Listen with your heart to embrace those that turn to you, for it's God's blessing that you are there. And then you have a Bible verse, Lord, will you establish peace for us? For you have also done all our works in us, Isaiah 26:12. And
Oh,
I love that because I think in today's world, we do get busy and it does become a race. And we get so caught up in our to-do lists and ourselves. If we're being honest, we can get very caught up in ourselves and what our own
It's
needs
easy
are.
to do.
And it's just so important to remember that everywhere we go, every place we are, every person that we meet, they're having their own day and they deserve kindness and they deserve smile, and a happy thought, a happy interaction. And it's just that reminder of everywhere you go, you're going to leave an impact, an imprint. And I loved that particular one because it reminds me, make sure your imprint's good, make sure your imprint isn't, I'm pushing my cart through the grocery store and I don't have time to smile and I don't have time to,
True.
give a friendly nod behind the mask, that kind of thing. And then, so I love that.
One thing, excuse me for a second. I have to,
Gonna put the glasses on.
I can't see close. Two things quickly. One of the things I like about your book is that each day starts with today I will. So it's like putting it immediately right on me, like today I will.
That was the
What?
point.
What?
I said that was the point. That is for you to do.
Yes, right, exactly. So yes, that works so good. Immediately says, okay, what do I have to do today? Today I will not, day 13 says, today I will not question any unplanned situation, but will have faith in God's plans. Right off the bat, I'm like, okay, something that's not planned, I have to immediately depend on God for. So right from the first sentence, I feel, okay, there's something tangible and specific that I need to move forward on today. And that was just awesome.
Oh, thank you, Dan. And that's for like when people wake up their day. Sometimes it doesn't start off like the night before. Oh, today I'm gonna have to do this, right? So they plan it out. They wake up, something happens, and then like your car don't start, or the kids get sick, and it's like, oh, well, my plan changed,
Yes.
And that's like something that's not planned, but God knew about it. He planned it, but why? So you gotta trust why He planned it.
And it's also, the other thing that I really like about it is, like Dan was saying, it gives you a job to do, but it also gives us like an accountability to ourselves. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Like, and there's so many times, and trust me, we do need to fill our own cup up, and we do, we do have to take care of ourselves, but the best way that we can truly take care of ourselves is to also take care of the people around us. I mean, relationships. We were just speaking with Arlene Saman with One Heart Worldwide, and she had a very powerful story about how relationships save lives. And, this helps people remember the importance of relationships and interactions in this world, and our relationship with God, and our relationships with each other, and our relationship to ourselves, and all the little small things that you can do that aren't hard, that can make the biggest difference in someone's life, including the reader. So, yeah.
They're simple, but without God's grace, they're too hard. But you tell the readers all the time, we do it by God's grace. By God's grace, I will. So each of these things we just try to do it without anyone's help. No, we're doing it with God's help and with His grace.
Yes. And that's when the first day, if you start with a relationship with God, then like you say, Jenny, you will then have a relationship with other people. You have to have it with God first, because once you have it with God first, then you'll understand why He put us all here together. And then you can reach out to people, because when you reach out to people, some of those people who come to you by accident, like what someone said, I read a quote that they don't come to you by accidents, they come for a reason. So once you have a relationship with God, God will then start bringing these people into your lives.
Yes.
And that's a relationship with them.
He opens up doors all over the place. And, when I think of what you were saying about kids in the CHD world, and all of us, I mean, whether it's somebody who has CHD or whether it's an individual, God made us all individually unique and with our own purpose and our own being, which brings me back to day 33. Today, I will not be afraid to be me.
That's awesome.
And I don't even remember that one.
It says, think of God's creation and how wonderful they all are, including yourself. You are
Oh,
made of God's image and out of his love for you. Today, speak out and stand firm in your faith. Stay connected with God in all you do and never back down or give up. When things feel hard or scary, just pray to God and thank him for your blessings, and you will see that you have nothing to fear. You are worthy of this journey, and keep moving forward as your true self. And do not worry about who you are or have to be, because God has made you for his purpose, not yours or for others. For nothing is impossible with God. Luke 1:37. It's
wow.
everything that you've been talking about today and the messages that, or one of the many things you've been talking about today, but it's one of the powerful messages that come through in the words that you share and the wisdom you share. Do you have a favorite?
Do I have the first one?
The
The
first
first day is my favorite.
one. Well, I love that. We love you. We love the
Oh, we
book.
love
We
you,
love all you're
Jenny.
doing.
Oh,
And, we are so excited to see your plans unfold on your journey and the doors that God will open for you and the lives that you'll touch. You definitely
thank
touched ours.
you.
You have.
Oh, thank you guys. It's so good and pleasure to meet you, well, Dan, you. And it's wonderful to have you on the Community of the Heart collection with Amy and Anna. Honestly, I want to say, because I never told Amy, or I think I told Amy, but I haven't told Anna yet, but I'll tell you. Thank you for making that website. That's a website that I wish I grew up with, me, Brandon Phillips, all of us. We didn't have that. But now the new generations, they get that tool. And even if they don't listen to the podcast, they can still connect through that website, through all the other outlets out there. So I'm grateful for that. I'm really grateful that you opened that door for people that have CHD that also have a purpose. Now they can come to that website and they can show their purpose. Like if they are writers, they are artists, they can show that they're here for a purpose, even though they're living with CHD. And if they have those, artists, drawings, things like that, they can now present them out, and maybe they can draw something about how they see CHD in the world. What's it like for them to live with CHD? They can represent themselves. And sometimes I notice certain CHDers, they don't like to talk like I do. They write or they draw. And sometimes that's how they get to express their emotions through living with CHD. Because most of us, when we were in the hospital, all we did was draw. We draw, we doodle. So that's how we passed our time. And some of them, I met one on the Conquering CHD. She's an artist, and she would draw hearts. She would draw like in, how what her heart was like, so that's how they express themselves. So I'm glad you opened that creative website so that CHDers can express themselves. If they don't feel like talking openly on a podcast, they can express themselves through their art. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. And we're very thankful that you're part of it.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you want to share that maybe we didn't think to ask or?
Um, Not really. Okay, well, I'll share one. My dad, when I was younger, remember in the beginning, I told you guys I used to write short stories and poetry.
Yes.
Dad was proud. He was surprised I did because he found a bunch of my work on the kitchen table and he looked at them and he asked me, "Did you write all this?" And I
Oh,
said, "Yes." And he goes, "Wow, this is amazing. Keep them. One day you'll be going somewhere."
oh,
Oh,
that's so awesome.
And so that's because me and dad never had a relationship. No, okay, so you know how father they have their relationship with their daddy's little girl, right? Emotional, you show well, me and dad never did that. Like we never show emotions. We never done things together. But I don't know, that one particular time when he saw my writing, I think that was what, him saying he's proud of me, but because he doesn't say it, you know. So I always remember that now that I have my book, I'm thinking Dad's gonna like that because I actually did something like he said I would.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
That's all I want to share because he passed away. So I just wanted to share that if he was here and he sees all this, he'd be happy. I think he'd be like, she did something. She didn't just sit around the house like I thought.
As a dad, he'd probably be like, yeah, I told her to do that when she was like 4. Dads take credit.
Yeah.
You're like,
See,
that's
if my
my
dad was,
daughter.
oh, I was saying if my dad was here, he'd probably want to be on the show. Like how mom was on the show with
Oh,
Aaron. My
yeah.
dad would want to be on the
Did your
show.
mom like being on the show?
Not really. She didn't like
She
speaking
didn't.
English. She was like, no, because she even tells me, she goes, and then she heard it. She heard the podcast. And she's like, no, I don't like the way I sound.
It is hard to get used to your voice on, air. I never like the sound of my voice.
Oh, but I guess that's what we do. If we want to be advocates, Jenny, we have to go out there.
You gotta,
Yep.
yeah, you gotta get past your discomforts. But well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and sharing your story with
Yes,
us.
thank you.
No problem. I want to thank you both for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. And maybe we can do another show one day.
Absolutely,
Yes,
we
that'd be
would love
great.
to anytime.
Oh, well, thank you. And Jenny, thank you for your podcast. Thank you for the books. And just thank you for your help in our heart community.
Oh, thank you too, and you're very welcome.